Do you have this and these? I hope you do, because I'm going to be showing you how to put these together. At the end of this tutorial, you should have a completed puppy dog head. Well, we'll just need to sew on the eyes and tack down that nose. I've listed the tools and materials in the description, and these are all the stitches and techniques that we'll be using today. So, now that that's out of the way, let's get crocheting. This tutorial starts with round 15 of the head. If you need tutorials for the previous rounds, check out the description for the links. So grab your project and begin putting 1 single crochet into every stitch for this round. There's no increasing, decreasing, or color changes. Just enjoy yourself and go at your own pace, because rounds 16 and 17 are the exact same thing. So I went ahead and crocheted those rounds off camera. I hope you don't mind. If you want to double check your work, you should have 48 stitches for these rounds. When you're done with round 17, make sure you have the ears handy, because we're going to stitch those into the head. I've put a stitch marker into the 6th stitch of the last round for each ear. This is going to help us attach them in this coming round. Then lay those ears out in front of you so you get the orientation right. See how those pointed sides are facing away from each other? This should help us crochet the right stitches at the right time. So let's start by making 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Now picking up that first ear, insert your hook into that last stitch of the ear. Your hook should enter the ear from the inside and exit the outside of your work. I moved the ear tail between the working loop and the working yarn. If you aren't going to sew down the ears, you will have a much shorter tail here. Then insert your hook into the next stitch on the head and single crochet. Try and keep that ear tail tight. You will continue making a single crochet into each stitch on the ear and the head 5 more times. If you're anything like me, that stitch marker we put in will help you keep track. I want you to see how each stitch is made so you can follow along. So I'm not going to speed anything up here. See how one side of the ear is now attached to the head. Isn't this better than having to sew the ears onto the head? I like to put a stitch marker into this stitch right here on the ear. It's the first stitch of the last round, and it's going to help us later on. But let's get back to finishing this round. I like to insert my hook into the previously worked stitch on the head before making a single crochet into the next stitch, on the head only. Now you can put 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches on the head only. Time to crochet that second ear into the head. So insert your hook into what should be the 7th stitch of the last round of that ear. Your hook should enter the ear from the inside and exit the outside. Then insert your hook into the next stitch on the head and single crochet together. Continue making these types of single crochets 5 more times, going through both the ear and the head. Want to know a secret? Somehow I marked the wrong stitch on that second ear, and I didn't catch it until I finished this round, so I had to correct that off camera. I want you to see how each stitch is made so you can follow along. So I'm not going to speed anything up here.
round by putting 1 single crochet into each remaining stitch on the head only. When you're done, you should have 48 stitches. Before we get started with round 19, I want to position the yarn tails from the ears because I think it's easier to do this now. Grab your bent tip darting needle and thread the tail of that first ear. Pull that tail tight and then insert your needle into the next stitch, going through the back and coming out the front. You're going to weave the tail through the next 4 stitches, making a sort of zigzag path. You should end with the tail exiting the front of your work. Now insert your needle into the ear and come out the front just above round 17 of that ear. You want your needle to exit as close to the edge of that ear as possible. Can you see how that yarn tail will be hidden inside the ear? No one will know it's there. That's it for this side. Let's go do the same thing for the second ear. So thread your needle with the yarn tail of the second ear and begin weaving it into those stitches on the head, just like you did with the first one. Now we can get back to crocheting round 19, which is very similar to round 18. Make a single crochet into the first 2 stitches of the head only. Then insert your hook into that next stitch on the head, yarn over and pull through the stitch. Now insert your hook into the first unworked stitch of that ear and single crochet. That yarning over that we did before inserting our hook into the ear stitch, I think helps to reduce the gap. Then single crochet into the next 5 unworked stitches on the ear only. After finishing that last single crochet, insert your hook back into that previously worked stitch on the ear, yarn over and pull through the stitch. Now insert your hook into the next stitch on the head and single crochet. I think this reduces the chance of having a gap in this area, so let me know if it makes a difference for you. You're going to single crochet into the next 5 stitches on the head only. You should now be in position to begin crocheting into that second ear. Before making the first single crochet in the ear, insert your hook into the previously worked stitch on the head, yarn over and pull through that stitch. Then insert your hook into that first unworked stitch on the ear and single crochet. Make 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches on the ear only. I hope I didn't confuse anybody with all this stitches and yarning over before making single crochets. Before making the next single crochet into the head, insert your hook into the previously worked stitch on the ear, yarn over and pull through that stitch. Then insert your hook into the next stitch on the head and single crochet everything together. You will finish this round by making a single crochet into every remaining stitch, and you should still have 48 stitches. After crocheting this round, I took a break and stuffed the muzzle section of the head off camera. We only have a few rounds remaining and we need to start closing up the head here. So for round 20, we have a repeat sequence. You will single crochet into the next 6 stitches and then decrease. Repeat this until you get to the end of the round. For round 21, the repeat sequence is a single crochet in the next 5 stitches and then a decrease. When you finish this round, you should have a total of 36 stitches. I think this is a good point to stuff the head a bit more, so go ahead and add some stuffing, but don't fill it all the way up to that last round. If those yarn tails from the ears are getting in your way, just wrap them around the ears and that should help to keep things from getting tangled. You can also wrap that tail from the nose up if it's driving you nuts. We made it to round 22, and once again, we have a repeat sequence. Single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then decrease. Repeat this until you finish the round, and you should have a total of 30 stitches. Now for round 23. The repeat sequence is a single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then a decrease. I'm not sure what happened, but it seems I didn't record the next round. So for round 24, repeat the sequence of a single crochet in the next 2 stitches and then decrease. Now that the hole is starting to close up, you might need to squeeze the head as you crochet to avoid your stitches from getting loose. This is why I don't fully stuff the head. We're almost done. Round 25 is a sequence of a single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease. The last round could be a bit challenging because we're going to decrease 6 times. You should have a tiny hole when you're done and a total of 6 stitches. This is when I fully stuff the head. You want to stuff into the center, and when it starts to fill, push some of the stuffing to the sides to really shape the head. I admit it's not easy to add stuffing into such a small hole, but when I was fully stuffing the head before finishing all these rounds, I found big gaps in my work. I think it was because the stuffing was pushing my stitches away from each other and it just really didn't look good. You want to add enough stuffing to make the head firm with just a little bit of give. Take a close look at your stitches to help figure out if you've got enough stuffing. If you put too much, the stuffing will stretch the stitches and you'll see it coming through. Once you're done adding all your stuffing, leave about an 8-inch tail before cutting the yarn. Now put that tail all the way through and thread it with a darning needle. To close up this hole, insert your needle into the front loop of the next stitch. Be sure to enter the loop from the top and come out the bottom. Then repeat this for the next 5 stitches of this last round. Don't pull the tail too tight just yet. Now I gently push down on the hole and pull that tail tight. I think this does a good job of closing everything up nicely. I tried taking the yarn tail into the head as if I'm going to continue round and round, like I'm mimicking the path of those crocheted rounds. Try not to pull too tight or you'll distort the shape of the head, but you can always fluff it back up into shape if you need to. Now I like to weave the tail down the back of the head and leave it hanging out the bottom. We can use this tail later to help us attach the head to the body. In the next few videos, we'll finish up the head by getting rid of all these tails and making sure that this head's got some eyes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more. Thanks for watching.